looking for a scoop on some things, you know, maybe.
And this will be the first time we're actually live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So that's a little bit of a surprise. We're going to jump into the foray of trying to have all of that stuff.
On some things, you know, maybe. Yeah, we're doing it big.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's early morning now over in Australia, so I believe the fearless leader is having some breakfast. We're going to try to take questions as well from the AMA questions channel, which I'm trying to open up right now. Anything we don't cover, we definitely want you guys to ask whatever questions we can. We can try to cover the like the upcoming launch of the Mint, of the Genesis Mint. Where is that channel? So yeah, we're hoping it gets everybody kind of excited, because I think there's a lot of stuff that hasn't really been hammered home, and aspects that people may actually not know. So
yeah, that's why we're here. So we got some pre-made questions that you guys should like, and then maybe in the end we'll open it up to the floor for the last little bit.
Yeah. Why can I not find this channel?
Which one?
The AMA questions. Am I blind? Oh, I see it. Yeah, we're gonna try to cover just about everything everybody needs to know about the collection, why people need to own a Gamester.
Oh yeah, you gotta own the games.
More. And it's funny because like every week we seem to like add more and more and more and more stuff.
Oh yeah.
And this is gonna be good, guys.
Oh, we got Justin, got our leader.
Yeah,
I think we're good to roll.
Once we get confirmation from Matt, we'll do like a 20-second countdown, and I'll switch it over.
Sounds good.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning for you.
Ready to go?
You guys are talking, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
We're talking. Good thing we're not
talking.
rolling
We
yet.
can hear you.
That is better.
Okay, now you can hear us?
That is much better. That's the problem with having like 42 billion sound devices connected to your computer.
Yeah, you don't know which one is the input at the moment.
And it changes all the time. It's like sound device roulette. The computer just randomly decides, you know, what it wants to switch on as the default, you know, listening device or speaker device. So it's a lot of fun. It's good fun.
Oh, one night I forgot that I had hooked it up to my TV and my sound system. I was getting all my computer notifications through my like nice sound system at 3 o'clock in the morning.
With that bass?
Yes.
That's the best. I have that kind of experience with Spotify, switching between devices. It's good time.
Excellent. All right, Jeff, can you just talk for a second? I just want to do a sound check.
Check.
All right. Volume-wise, we're good to go. Stream's up and running. We're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Yeah. I'm happy to kick it over. Let me know, and I'll switch it over, guys.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Good from inside.
All right, I'm switching over. Go for it, guys.
All right, what's going on, everybody? We're here to
Welcome
talk about.
to
Yeah, welcome to the AMA. Today we're going to try to cover as much of the Genesis Mint and questions regarding the in-game character apes that will be part of this Genesis Mint and what they can do and why you want them and why you need them. So without further ado, Matt, do you have anything to begin with?
Yeah, I just want to say that sort of where we are on a project level is really sort of in between, major events. We have a lot of really amazing stuff coming up. And personally, I've spent probably the last 2 to 3 months in the trenches working with the teams, building up our synergies, and people that are on this call and also in the audience are privy to what's sort of going on in the background. And we don't really sort of want to show exactly how powerful everything is coming together and exactly what's happening. We'd rather just show results. But personally, I'm really proud of everything that the team is doing, how it's all coming together. I think you guys will really, really appreciate the depth of what it is that we've cultivated, thought of, strategized, and what we're building over the next 2-3 months. So I couldn't be more proud of the team and everyone that's working on the project. So from where I'm sitting, it's a strong position.
Yeah, I agree fully. Every week we sit down to talk about things. It feels like things just get so much bigger and so much more in depth, and it's moved so much past what I think the original plan even was. It's just been fantastic.
True. I mean, so we have a product council, which obviously you three are all party to in a level of capacity. So, the stuff that gets decided or, brought to consensus on that level at such a granular detail is far and beyond my original vision. And obviously we had to pivot because of compliance and legals and moving as far away from anything relative to gambling as possible. But we still, thankfully, and I'm grateful that we still get to service the original vision, which was providing utility for coins and for projects that had none. So this is something that is dear to me and I think is really valuable in the space. And in terms of metaverse, when we provide additional use cases, utility, and create something called compound network effect is really important and hugely valuable. So creating an ecosystem that is inclusive across different projects, different asset classes, different games, different financial spend levels, different actors in their approach, in their preference for games. All these different things need to be catered and accounted for. So there's been enormous work in the background, and certainly, I can't take credit for everything that's going to transpire. It's definitely a team effort.
Yeah, I agree fully.
We're all gamers, right? So I think that's one of the best things about Product Council is we're all gamers, and we want to implement some things that you might have seen from games and some new innovations. And I think people will be excited. We should really get into some of the questions.
We should. We have a hard stop, 60 minutes. Jeez, these things usually go.
Yeah.
The faster we get through the initial stuff, the more we can talk at the end.
This is true. I'll stop waffling. Let's get to it, gents.
So Matt, what is the Genesis Mint?
The Genesis Mint is an event where we create the ape characters. So the ape characters actually get utilized in the games. And there are a variety of different types of ape characters. So there are characters obviously that are born as baby apes. There's male, there's female. And they actually they all have stat points or stats that are relative to their different types of how would I put it? What's the best word to use this?
Attribute?
Attribute, yeah. Sorry, it's really early. My brain's still trying to kick in. So there's 5 different attributes. and so we're looking at something that is health based. We haven't completely figured out exactly if it's going to be called constitution or stamina, but it will influence heavily based on health, endurance, those sort of factors. Then there's strength, agility, intelligence, and luck. And then from that side of things, they give weight to traits that are leveraged from those attributes or stats. So each trait, I think we've got 12 to 15. Each trait has 2 different stats that influence that specific trait. And from the traits themselves, there are also skills and abilities that apply to different games. So the beautiful thing about the stats is as you level up these apes through playing the games, earning bananas and feeding them bananas, they gain the ability to increase those stat points or those attributes, and also add new skills or traits over time. So as you progress from being a baby ape to an adult ape, that's where you have the opportunity to breed. And you can breed those apes. You have to have at least 2 in order to breed another one with Merry Berry Juice, which is another token that you can earn in the games. And once you sort of breed a certain amount, then you move into elderhood. So you can become an elder, and there are certain advantages to being an elder that are exclusive to that sort of age bracket. But the detriment is that you can't breed anymore. So there is a window. And I think that's really important for balancing the ecosystem. But with the apes, these characters will translate to all of the different events, competitions, and also their stat points, traits, abilities, and skills will be implemented in their various forms, powers, bonuses, modifiers, etc., throughout all of these different games. So essentially what you're going to want to have is a number of different types of apes for different types of games, for different earning potentials, because each game has advantages, disadvantages for using different apes in different ways. And there are also synergies between different players and in terms of characteristics and those sorts of things, which will enable you to get through things better, faster, and also potentially earn more. So that's a bit of a summary on the apes, but essentially they're in-game characters that are NFTs that are levelable. You'll also be able to equip them with NFT items, which are rendered in 3D inside the actual games themselves. And it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that the potential of the many different types of ways people could play is also going to surprise them. I don't think people have that idea yet of how diverse this is going to be.
Different builds, different situations, different play styles.
Now,
I was
ahead.
just going to talk really quickly. Like, this is something that we were talking yesterday in product council in terms of what we're aiming to do, which is we're centering or driving things towards people's usual kind of archetypes or their specific play style. So what we intend on doing as we get closer to release is provide a bit of a roadmap or an idea about how people can have a bit of a path or a tech tree, if you will, about how they're going to work towards different archetypes. So you might have someone who's a very defensive person, or someone that likes a good glass cannon, someone that likes to destroy other people's items or boosts or power-ups. There will be different types of easily identifiable archetypes, I guess you would call them, which represent very specific strategies about how people would usually play a type of character. And these will be, I guess, suggested or partly recommended builds, which will also translate to characters in, let's say, the Dungeon Runner, or other games that we have available.
Yeah, I think that multi-game interplay is going to be really exciting and fun. Like I think
100%.
that's going to add a lot for people who want to have different kinds of characters to be able to achieve different kinds of things.
Well, if we put it in this context, so if you happen to get an ape that has a lot of strength, as an example, that would lead you to play the battle mode in a certain fashion in order to advance. And then if you continue to weigh your stat points into strength, by the time the dungeon runner comes out, that ape is pretty well equipped to hit the instances and the dungeons pretty hard for a barbarian type character. But as that game is being built, it's really fundamentally important that people work together and consider their options as as groups or teams of at least 2 to 3 people. Because, for example, like if you have a really great barbarian, to really maximize your damage output, etc., you're going to want to work with a wizard. Because you're gonna go and pick up a barrel of water, you're gonna throw it at a group of monsters that are coming at you, just waves of these guys coming at you, and they're gonna get wet. The wizard's gonna freeze them, and the warrior's gonna walk over and bash, and they're all gonna shatter. So those kinds of easy wins are only available in synergies between characters, or the actual damage output can only hit a certain level if leveraged between 2 or 3 characters. So these sorts of things are really important, and it's going to gear people towards having combinations of apes where they work in teams and groups. And this is the kind of environment, community, and that we want to foster is building an experience where people are really working together, leveraging their skills, formulating strategies in different ways. And this will create a lot of really exciting market opportunities as well as meta changes. So that's the stuff that really excites me, is those little mechanics that happen between games, where people can see the clear advantage of things, and they can be the first to get in on it, and potentially profit, or potentially get further in the games, or earn faster than other people.
That is awesome. Circling back to the actual mint itself, you had mentioned if you happen to get an ape with strength. Can you explain what that means?
Sure can. So essentially, when you get an ape, so if we dial it back a little bit, the initial Genesis mint is based on the Gamesters. So the Gamester holders essentially have first pick and call into Genesis, which I think is a really great thing for all the Genesis ape holders. For the Gamester ape. They're so similar for the Gamester ape holders. And so what happens is you get an ape, and it will come out with a random set of stats from a pool of 50 points. So with these 5 stats, you might get 10 of one, 15 of another, and they'll all be sort of various. So you might be lucky enough to have the prominent stat being strength. If that was the case, you would probably continue moving that forward because you already have an advantage in strength. But that first initial pool of 50 points will be randomly assigned through Chainlink VRF process, and that will largely definitely determine the initial strategies and the initial play style and the initial approach I think that people will have to their apes.
And these are randomized in what fashion?
So they're randomized as base stats to essentially health, or that realm, intelligence, strength, agility, and luck through the 50 points. So you can have. I mean, its average is going to be about 10 each stat. Using verifiable randomness through Chainlink, that will apportion randomly into each different stat field, and yeah, that will sort of, you'll be lucky if you hit sort of like a very high range. It's possible, but not as likely as getting something which is sort of between 10 and 20.
Awesome. Could you quickly just explain, like, so the rarity system that we have already, how that will play a factor into the mint for the Genesis apes, if people don't already know?
Okay, so basically each Gamester has a rarity coefficient, and those rarity coefficients collectively aggregate to a number of apes that people can mint. So if you have 3 Gamesters, that's the amount of apes that you can mint. But beyond that, you have it's a rarity coefficient of the Gamester itself that equals sort of like a correlated number of apes. So if you have a 0.4 rarity, you can mint 1 ape. If you have something that is between 0.4 and 0.6, you can mint 2. If you have 0.6 to 0.8, you can mint 3, and 0.8 and above is 4. So that rarity coefficient really starts to play into something that's more valuable now, because this allows you to, if you have a Gamester that's really rare, that's above 0.8 in rarity, you can actually mint 4 apes. Whereas if you have a bunch, let's say you have 2 that are 0.4, you can still only mint 2 apes. So this really starts to value the rarity coefficient of the Gamesters.
That's amazing. A lot of people were saying, "Hey, like, what's the point here with the rarity?" Like, they just didn't understand. But now it's to the point where I'm going to be looking for some 0.8s here pretty soon.
Well, this is the first part of many things that are going to be dropping, or at least implementing, for the Gamesters. So we have a lot of things planned for them, but I'm not going to do it this time. I'm not going to drop the alpha. How do you feel about that?
No alpha. No alpha for our audience of 40?
That doesn't sound like you.
No, I've been purposely told that I need to hold back some of these things. So
but you already teased it, sir. You can't.
Yeah,
now.
I did. Maybe if we get a higher level audience in here, then we might drop it as we progress. Let's keep an eye on that.
What's the number?
Right now it's
What's
at
the number
41.
you need? What's the number for the alpha drop? What would suffice?
420. No, I'm kidding. Let's look at 100. I think we can get 100 in here.
All right.
Spread the word, guys. We want the alpha. Get the audience.
Next question. We're on time limit.
So, when would we be able to see some kind of a mode in which these attributes will matter?
So this will be applicable immediately to the battle modes. So the guys in Web3 engineering, etc., and specifically working under Dan, have got all of this stuff, sort of prepared. There's a lot of things that will come out. So specifically, the Genesis Mint page will be linked up with the marketplace, so they'll essentially be launched at the same time. And these characteristics, along with being able to level with bananas and those sorts of things, will be available as soon as the Genesis Mint happens, which means that you'll be able to earn your bananas, level up, and have these characteristics apply in-game in the battle modes immediately.
That is amazing.
And then we have the Dungeon Runner coming soon after in terms of at least a playable introduction to it for the initial dungeons. So I can't give times on that just yet, but that team is absolutely knocking it out of the park. And you guys should see a lot of pre-production slices, content releases coming for Dungeon Runner soon. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be epic.
But God mode itself, I think, is gonna add a bunch of new layers of strategy with the implementations we're doing. It's going to be fun.
Definitely. I mean, God mode is obviously something that's very dear to me because I helped build it. But I think it's going to be amazing. In a random, almost information incomplete type scenario, which makes it very challenging in a lot of ways for many reasons. But to have apes where there is a clear advantage for taking a specific strategy, almost works as a beacon of, oh my gosh, this person's definitely going to be playing this, or you could use it as a fake out. There are so many different ways that you can apply this, but having sort of very clear archetypes that you'd be working towards as play styles, as strategies, and then having items that get leveraged off those strategies is really, really effective. So building in these layers into the games, into the way that people can approach them and play them, that are complex to a degree, but very intuitive, is going to be very, very interesting. It'll add new layers and new depth, and we also have some additional things to add in for these modes for Classic, for God, and for Chaos. There are some new mechanics to be added. We do need to factor these things in first, but I'm really liking where that is starting to shape towards.
That's really good. What's the cost going to be per mint? Is it going to be in Best? Is it going to be in BNB? Is it going to be no cost?
So basically, there's no actual cost to mint the apes in terms of no added cost beyond paying for gas, etc. So that I think is really, really important to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get in there and get across this potential opportunity. We're expecting that there's going to be a lot of apes that will be minted, and it should be really exciting to see what density of pool we have come out, which I think will affect the macro of strategies that are available. In this type of situation, we could obviously we could utilize it as a revenue raising activity, but this is not what's important to us. We really want to make sure that people have an opportunity to get involved, be included as part of our base ecosystem and development. Inclusion across all different types of people is really, really valid and important. So we're trying to give people the opportunity to get involved at the base layer and have some fun.
This sounds like this is going to be really good when it all comes out. Jeff, do you have anything specific?
Be nice to talk about some of the events coming up that we have, like BPod's tournament. BPod actually beat me pretty bad.
How bad, Jeff?
Yeah, how bad?
Dude, I ran into him in the game, and I was like, "Oh man, it's BPod! Like, good luck." And he pretty much dusted me. Saved the specials for the end and just executed me. Said GG.
Oh, that's cold. That is very, very interesting. Yeah, who's he playing in the tournament?
I don't know.
I actually haven't seen the bracket yet, but I think it's really awesome that he's putting this together because he's having a lot to do with it, and I look forward to doing whatever commentary or trying to make this, as exciting as possible for everybody, just so everybody can see the potential of what this can become. God mode is really high stakes, and it's really addictive, and I can see with tournaments being on the line, people are going to want to play for opportunities to win things. So this is going to be, a first, and I think it's going to be really good for us.
Yep, we'll be there. We'll be there commentating.
I think it's going to be really, really interesting when we have high-level apes come in as well. So segue into leveling, which I think is important. So with the apes, they start at level 1 and they have a max level of 150. So between levels 100 and 150 they're considered elders. So they can no longer breed, and they have special skills, such as teaching and mentoring type abilities that will come into play a little bit later. Between 50 and 99, they're an adult, so they can breed. And between 1 and 49, they are still considered a bear. So basically, every 5 levels, you get to assign 3 points to base stats. And this increases, obviously, power in different ways, or it increases your health, or in the instance of luck. Don't discount luck, folks. Luck is going to be a very interesting and prominent skill. So when the sheet comes out with all of the specific about what luck can influence at the start, don't think that that's the end. It will be important. So traits, every 10 levels, you get 2 points to assign to traits. There will be at least 10. I think there's somewhere between 12 and 15. I think we settled on at the end. And babies get 2 starting traits from their parents in terms of being hereditary. So consider that when you're aiming to breed a certain trait or something like that. This is what you're going to end up with. So the parent stats kind of distribution has an impact also on the base stat distribution. So that's an important factor to consider. Plus, there are things that we call pods. So pods. Just trying to find my specific docker on this because I haven't been across the ideation of it. Pods are things that you can buy, and they influence the stats of that specific type. So you might want to buy a strength pod in order to breed an ape that is more strength based as an influence over the other stats. So those pods are going to be cheap. Basically, they're going to be $1 to $5 USD each. And once they're purchased, they're sent to the user's wallet. And this then gives you the ability to breed through that pod and influence its outcome in the specific form that you're looking to breed. So this is a good way to at least get a starting point into a specific direction. So I think as the market starts to become a little bit more mature with apes, you're going to have clear strategies that have stats and traits where you have a clear opportunity to breed a very specific stat combination that is influenced for the baby, as well as the traits, or at least as a good opportunity to breed a specific trait from those parents that is relative to the stats. Combined with the pod, you've got a greater chance of having a better starting pool. And I think this is going to allow people to really shape, certain, I wouldn't call them races, but you really strong, specific combinations that lead them towards, certain play styles immediately. And over time, as this gets more refined, you'll have more targeted, shaped, specific ape combinations that are really geared towards very specific abilities and skills and traits. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that as a possible way to earn. Some people may not be into really playing, but they could act as a breeder, and if they happen to have a high luck female and a high luck male, they could have a means to make some income, I guess, by breeding high luck babies.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in the example, let me just pull something up here. In the example of, let's say, the trait of predator. So let's say that you have a female ape who's agility dominant, and you have a male ape that is strength dominant, and you still want to play more agility based thing. Let's say you want to play the assassin in Dungeon Runner, and you want to be really annoying in battle mode, and do things like dodge and that stuff in future, which will get really, really annoying. So your main trait that you're focusing on is predator, and maybe even daredevil. So what you could do is, let's say if both these apes have daredevil and predator as an example, and you definitely want one of those traits. One is agility dominant, one is strength dominant, but you still want to go agility. So you purchase an agility pod, you breed these through the agility pod. It's very likely that you're going to get at least strength or agility dominance from the parents, plus you're going to get an agility boost from the pod itself. And then it's likely you can at least have a higher chance of getting a hereditary trait, being predator or daredevil, from parents. Then that outcome itself is what you're looking to shape, and then you level it up and put it on the market. So there will 100% be people that don't want to do this, in terms of they just want to go to the market and buy an ape that has certain traits, certain abilities, certain stats. They don't want to go through all of that stuff. They just want to buy this ape and use it. Buy this ape, buy a whole bunch of NFTs, whack them on the ape, get into a game with a guild or with a tribe, play some G Sports stuff, and smash it out. Like that market will exist 100%. And there will also be a market for people that, maybe they're not that great at the games. Maybe they're not like super high level players with awesome Twitch skills or anything like that. And they just want to grind it out, and put, good effort into getting these things shaped and positioned so that people can use them. So there'll be a variety of different markets that will come out of this, and a lot of opportunities. So it's going to be interesting to see how the trends shape and where it all goes.
Now, things won't always be the exact same, right? Like one season, things may be one way, and then it may favor one play style, and then things could change.
Yeah, balancing and yeah.
Am I
correct?
Am I right in
nerfs and buffs?
Yeah,
100%. I mean, they're the nuts and bolts of just about every single successful game. Is that they have, they purposely do this where there is something that gains a buff and everyone's like, oh, that's OP, but it shifts the meta. So people no longer use the what's being exploited by that OP thing, and they put it back in the in the cupboard, so to speak. And then later on, that thing that was OP gets nerfed, and things get changed. So this is really important for a healthy community, as well as an interesting game that changes. The balance of it needs to change. And this is one of the reasons why, when considering a, multi-game ecosystem where we might have dozens of games, we need the ability to not just change the meta that exists within those games individually, but also the meta that exists in the macro form of the economic model. So with NFTs being influenced in terms of items, power-ups, all these different things, as well as the apes, you need methods by which you can micro adjust all of those different factors that influence them. So this is why we went for the 5 token economy. And this is why we've gone for item dependent, NFT things that influence things at such a granular level, because they're additive and incremental, and they're also aggregative. So when you get to the point where you've got a fully leveled ape, and you're part of a tribe that is doing reasonably well, and you've got a bunch of different NFTs that combined form a set, and you might have some power-ups, and basically like you're fully kitted out, you're going to have so many little bonuses that add up. And this is the level that people can get to, is that, when we're talking about the basic sort of ranks and those sorts of things in leaderboards, rankings, these will all apply in very rudimentary fashion. But when we get to the higher levels, and we have so many different things combining, it will become very, very strategic and very, very important to switch your items out in different ways, so that you can take advantage of different things that are happening with other people. So it's going to be it's just going to be awesome to see it all coming together at such a deep level. Like when we consider the tribe side of things, going all the way to that level, and how the apes specifically, like if you want to form a tribe, you need fully leveled apes, and they must have a certain set between those apes in order to form a tribe. But there's a lot of different benefits to having tribes as well. So it's going to be a real journey, I think, for everyone who's sort of here and who's partaking in the ecosystem. What we put out initially has been proof of concept, making sure that our security was where it needs to be, getting things all things prepared, and then obviously building out the team for the next stage, and building out the fundamentals, getting pre-production organized for all these various games, and it's on a very specific timeline. So from my perspective, I'm really excited to see the community's reaction for the next 2 to 3, even 4 months, because there is just so much coming out that I know that you guys have been waiting for.
All right, let's take some questions from the community. How do you feel about that?
Sounds good to me.
How's the third-party game development program progressing?
Third-party game development program?
Yeah, example Mononoke. I guess they're asking how the Mononoke game is progressing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so the Mononoke game essentially is a rebadge of the Dungeon Runner game. And that game is going very well. So we have basically the highest level experienced game developers that you could buy, that I have successfully wrangled, that are working on this. We have such an epic team. So it's going really well. And over the next 2 to 3 weeks, you'll start to see a lot of content dropping for that specific game. And what's going to happen specifically for Mononoke is that game gets rebadged and kind of skinned with Mononoke theme, and also there are individual Mononoke levels with Mononoke item drops in terms of loot boxes and other little Easter eggs that I won't mention that are very, only and exclusive to Mononoke. So in order to gain access to that game, you need to be a Mononoke holder of X amount of tokens, as an example. If you want to play the really high level ones, you need to be a certain, size bag holder, or played X amount of games in that specific metaverse adventure. So there are lots of options to entice the community from that side to play, and a lot of benefits. Like there will be NFTs that are exclusive to Mononoke that you can only get through that Bass Mononoke game. It'll be really cool.
I'm trying to read this next question. Is it in Bass' hands to build the Mononoke game? If they utilize Fortune for in-game token and NFTs like they said in AMA right when partnership was announced, then how does Bass token fit in or benefit?
It's a good question. I'm really happy that one's come up. So we've got some work to do with the Mononoke team, specifically around the balance of Fortune. And how these things are going to fit in specifically so that we're not, so that it's balanced. I think that's really the key word. The Bass token fits in terms of mint collateralization. So when you mint an NFT, there is an element of Bass that is associated with that NFT. So that's a part of our ecosystem, in every facet. And Bass will be collateralized in that form. The Fortune side, we have a few things that we need to sort out with Mononoke, specifically about how they want these economic factors to function. So whilst we have a spectrum of different ways that we can implement this, what's important to us is that the Mononoke community votes on the appropriate action for this type of thing. So, I mean, where we directly have contact with the developers, but what they've expressed to us, which also mirrors our specific approach and ethos, is that key decisions like this in terms of how Fortune is applied and in what volume and all these different things, we create a few different ideas, and then we put it to community vote. So we have similar beliefs, and I think ethics in that way, because that's exactly how we will run it. So when we get to the next stage, in terms of specifically isolating mechanics and all of the semantics associated with Fortune, I believe, and to my understanding, that Mononoke will have a vote on those different options.
All right, sounds good. Can we get an update on the deliverables for Q1, timelines, etc.?
Oh, the hard questions. All right, bear with me a moment. I will pull out the roadmap. But while I'm doing that, I think what I can say is we have an NFT Launchpad that is more or less ready for March. It might be slightly delayed on account of the brand that we're looking to position the launch with, but stay tuned on that. Is very, very soon. Marketplace is coming in alignment with Genesis Mint. It's up in terms of, like, I've seen the dev of it. It's functional. There are a few things to add for mobile responsiveness, but I believe that's going to come out in alignment with Genesis Mint. Genesis Mint is not far away at all. So I'm not going to give a specific date just in case, but it's looking like 2 to 3 weeks. So just bear with me. I'm just getting this roadmap up.
Yeah, we also have a little bit of questions about the champion approach and how will champions work and how will the rewards work and who will end up spending the tokens. Like, what's the benefit for the champion to play if they don't own the ape?
Okie dokie. So Q1, we have the NFT launchpad that is done, but we don't want to launch it until we have the brand positioned. So that's pretty close. It might not be inside Q1. It might be early April or mid-April, but it's very close. I'm personally very excited about that, but there's a reason that we're holding off. We didn't specifically want to launch a launchpad without a launch. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So partnerships and collaborations. I'm just going to jump around on this a little bit. There's a huge amount going on. So I've spent a lot of time with the teams and a lot of time with marketing. We have huge amounts and just lots of things going on with partnerships and collabs. Yeah, we're getting to the sticky end of it, and it's going really well. So, obviously through our partnership with IBM, we got introduced to Bloomberg, and now we have our Bloomberg piece on the 17th. So that's exciting, and I think over the next 2 to 3 months, you should see a lot more stuff coming from IBM in association with us. So that will be, I think, good for a lot of people that are interested in seeing that move forward. Binance incubation. So that's finished. What a great program. I really, really love that. I'm actually going to be releasing a video on the Binance incubation wrap soon. I'm hoping to polish it off to give people a bit of an idea about the program. I'm also actively working with a few people that have applied that, we sort of think their projects are pretty cool and they wanted to understand the process. But hugely valuable accelerator. I can't really sort of put into words the value that they offered. It's just really great. Brand info and refresh. That's going to be a continued work in progress. So obviously we have the new site up. There are some additional things that we are discussing and deciding on brand. The info refresh. I suppose this is more. There's a lot of back of house info refresh stuff. So we have a lot of decks that we're utilizing with partners, with guilds, with game studios, and that stuff is probably not party for everybody, but it's going to be a continued work in progress. Inside that scope is also merch. So there's some exciting developments on the merch front that are coming out soon.
Awesome.
In 0.5, so marketplace, yes, that's probably going to be the first one, also aligned with the NFT ecosystem phase 1. So that'll be essentially that's Genesis, apes, and bananas. And the full game release and NFT integration. So the NFT integration will definitely be there. I'm not sure that I want to consider the battle mode a full game release until probably September, mainly because it's not going to include the full spectrum of NFT integration, plus the other bells and whistles that we want to add, which are dependent on them. So as an example, having NFT items in the battle arena, so to speak, you're going to want to see particle effects. You're going to want to see animations. You're going to want to see VFX, for different attack or defense modes. This can't be applied unless the NFTs are there. So the full game release, I think in terms of base mechanics, it'll be there in the next 2 to 4 weeks. But the real thing that entices many people is that flashy gameplay and the interaction and the speed of it and the animations and all that kind of stuff. That can't happen until the rest of the NFTs are released, and you can equip your apes with various power ups and all those sorts of things. So I think we would like to say full game mechanic release, but we've put full game release. So I think full game release will be a work in progress over the next sort of 3-4 months, with all the various different optional NFTs that you'll be able to apply. But full mechanic for the game, it's going to be 2 to 4 weeks, I would think. So that's the roadmap.
There you go. I seem to have a bunch of questions about the new champion model and how that will work, and who will, like, if a champion earns and doesn't have an ape, how are the bananas worth anything for them?
Good questions. So there are a lot of questions around some of the stuff that still require finality in solutions, mainly because we have to consider a lot of different factors. So at the moment, the champion model for ape characters has not yet been fully refined. There are a few things that we still need to iron out in terms of how to make it balanced and fair, and how this can apply as it scales out. What my intention would be is that the actual apes themselves could be leased out. So as an example, if you hold an ape character, you potentially can just hire a champion to utilize and level that up, and the bananas that would be earned would be relevant to that ape, and could be utilized, or they would be released back to the ape owner. So kind of like an escrow container where what's sort of occurred to that ape would be encapsulated in and containerized for that ape, and then if that champion didn't utilize the bananas, they would then go to the owner. So that's an idea that I have. That's what I think is going to be the best for the ecosystem. But we still have a few ideas that we're exploring, mainly because the champion side is something that we don't just want to rush into. It's an important factor for our development, for everyone who is playing, for all the guilds that are interacting. So there are a few things here that we're just polishing off, just to make sure that we get it right.
All right, that's good. Let's see. Who owns the game IP, Bass or Mononoke?
Interesting. So I mean, it's
questions here.
Yeah. Look, it's a Bass game. I'm not privy to the conversations that happen or have happened between Dan and Mononoke at that level. My assumption is that we are providing a game for Mononoke, and it is basically identical to a game that we're creating for our ecosystem, which we have all of the rights to, because we're building it. So I think it would be a license in perpetuity, and that's how that would go. That would be my assumption. But the actual input into game branding mechanics, and those sorts of things has not been a large body of work from the Mononoke side. It's essentially, I mean, we can move forward into very specific directions, But at this point, it's shaping up that it is a reskin with mainly our our direction and our involvement.
Do you want to take a couple questions from the community?
Yeah, sure. Do it.
So all right, guys. If you want to say something, if you got a mic on, you can put your hand up, and we'll give you the floor.
Let's hear ya.
Come on and ask a question.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys want to know. Give you all the opportunity.
Do we got any hands up?
We got one. Ron.
Oh, is that Ron? Is that Ron? Is that our Ron?
Ron, how you doing, Ron?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Well, yourself?
Yeah, not bad. I just had a quick question about the Genesis Ape, about the categories of attributes that you'd have tied to that. So what the 50 points would be spent on.
Yep. So you've got 5 different stat types. So you have a health type 1, which we're probably going to end up calling stamina, because it won't just be health. It'll also be things like endurance. But for now, we'll call it health. There is agility, intelligence, strength, and luck. So they're your base stats, and 2 of those inform each potential trait. So as an example, like you can't have, let's say, we'll go to Daredevil. You can't have the Daredevil trait without having a certain amount of points into strength and agility, as an example. Or at least that Daredevil trait would not be as effective.
Yeah, we will have a guide, a medium and a guide kind of explaining all of this, because we know this is a lot of information to have thrown at you all at once. So there will be written stuff for people to refer to kind of make it a little bit easier to comprehend and understand. Okay,
perfect. Thanks very much for answering the question, guys. I appreciate it. And keep up the
Ron.
good work. We've came a long way in a year. Thanks, guys.
All right, bud. Anybody else have any questions? All right. I don't see anybody. So, what's going on this weekend with the Unix Gaming? And again, I want to remind people that B-Pod's having his tournament, and apparently he's giving away a Gamester that he won. So I think that's mighty nice of him to give away a Gamester to one of his champions. So good on you, bro.
You want to come up and raise your hand and promote your event? Come on, raise that hand.
There he goes. What's going on, B-Pod?
Can't hear him. You guys hear him?
No, I can't hear you, bud. All right, well, his tournament is coming this weekend. I believe it is at tournament. It will be at 1 a.m. UTC on Monday.
Yeah, make sure you guys tune in. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, help support a community member. Get an idea of how awesome it will be for people to be competitive. I think it'll be a good turnout. I think it'll be good for rapport. And who knows, if this is super successful, maybe we roll one for ourselves, like one for Telegram, one for Discord.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bacon, but we're doing commentary on that one, aren't we?
I believe we are.
Ooh. The question is, should I use my regular voice or should I use my voiceover actor voice?
I don't know. What's your voiceover actor voice?
You got to make it fun. So voiceover.
Should I approach it from the Scottish side?
That works. I'll try to keep a straight face. I just sound like I'm from New York no matter what I try. So I sound like I'm New York trying to do another accent. So
Look, when I'm not, in the thick of business, I like to have a bit of fun. So I might let the hair down a little bit on Monday.
well, there you go.
Hey, it's Crypto Boy. What's going on, dude?
Yo, yo, yo. Do you, Mr. Burns, Matty?
Excellent.
I know. You buy the lemon pledge.
You got a question?
I don't. Great work, guys.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man.
You have a lovely day.
Oh, I shall. You too, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers, mate. So yeah, we actually have some really cool stuff coming out with Unix as well. So on that same morning, just before BPod's tournament, we have a founder gaming session with Unix, which we're partaking in. I think it's CS:GO actually. I haven't played CS:GO in a long time. I'm probably going to need about 49 cups of coffee to keep up with these youngsters.
Yeah, you don't have the reflexes anymore, do you?
I'll have fun with that, man.
Hopefully, I have a not totally dishonorable KDR. We'll find out. We'll see.
Use the Desert Eagle, man. You'll be fine.
I used to love the Deagle, or unscoped sniping for the win.
Yeah, I was a Deagle guy myself.
We did have one person with their hand up, but I think they put their hand down. I don't remember who it was. Oh, there he goes. I'm going to
It's a
invite one more person.
Bastoni.
Gazuga. What a cool name. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's a pretty badass name.
Gazuka.
What's going on, Gazuga?
Hey guys, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Oh, hold on. I'm a Discord noob. I'm just gonna put the phone. You guys can hear me though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I know you have to switch the phone to the speaker, and now I'm just putting the phone up to my ear. Yeah, Gazuga. That was my name from when we used to pass notes in high school back in the 90s, before there was texting and all that good stuff.
I could somewhat relate to that.
We are of similar vintage.
Yeah. Yes. But no, I'm coming over from the Mononoke community, so I hate to bring all the pestering from Mononoke to the jungle.
No, that's perfectly fine. We welcome all of the Mononoke wolves.
Yeah, I like to lurk in the Bass Telegram a lot. Your system is like so deep that it just kind of blows our minds, where we're just over there with a gamepad with an A and B button, hoping to slap the crap out of something. But the community over there is very starved for information. So I was just wondering if you guys could bring some clarity to just like one or two things. The first being, I know that you guys are working on like a swap palette version of the dungeon crawler that you guys are making for the Bass system.
Yep.
Is that version of the game for Mononoke meant to be just on the Ethereum blockchain?
Good questions. So it will interact with Ethereum, as well as so the NFT Launchpad will be interacting with Ethereum as well. We have some semantic stuff in terms of a couple of things between BNB chain and Ethereum to sort out with Mononoke. That's Dan's bag, but there's plenty of time to get across this. And to my understanding, there's not going to be any challenges that we can't cover from that side. That's all been factored into. But yeah, I believe it's in terms of the semantics. It'll just be reading what's on the Ethereum wallet from the Mononoke contract side, and then bringing that into the game and representing it. Other things that are based on Ethereum in terms of NFTs that will be, let's say Mononoke has other partners that have assets on Ethereum. Those can also be brought in as well. So there are no sort of real technical limitations. It's really just how we want to output, the product from the efforts in the games. And that's more of a discussion for Dan and the guys in the dev team for Mononoke.
Awesome. And then the other one was just is your game different than the one that the Mononoke devs have put forward, the 2D side scroller? Those are two separate IPs.
Oh yeah, completely.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I'm not fully aware of that specific game, the 2D side-scrolling one. But the game that we're building as a dungeon crawler is a blend between many different games. So it's a blend between, like, let's say Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Magicka, Divinity, those types of action RPGs, as well as Gauntlet. So Gauntlet Slayer Edition is what we played to gain, sort of initial ideas about how we could develop the rapid prototype, and then we have all of the synergies in player classes and how they can be cooperative on a deeper level beyond that. So what we've done is we've brought in the best of a lot of these sorts of action RPGs into an item-based economy. So yes, it is vastly different to pretty much anything else that's going to be available. I think he dropped out.
Yeah, I think he did.
Fare thee well, sir.
Take her easy.
Can you hear me there now, guys?
Yeah, there you go, B-Pod.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I had to change from the phone to the laptop. How's it going?
Good, man. Just giving you the floor to kind of promote your upcoming tournament and basically say whatever you want about it.
Good, yeah.
Floor.
Okay, I'll just give a quick summary on it. I know Toad is going to put out a big announcement in the next couple of days as well. But it was just my idea. I think for me, one of the main reasons I've liked the Bash from the beginning is the chance for everybody to earn, not just people who can buy NFTs, for those champions in other countries too. And so I'm currently living in Colombia, so most of my champions are friends and people I know that are looking for a few extra bucks. So this is my way of kind of trying to give back, because a lot of them played well and worked hard in the beta phase, especially in the beginning one. So I won for my great impression of an ape. I won one Gamester, so I decided I want to give that. I was initially thinking of doing a raffle for my champions, but then once I saw the other guys doing the battle for the Gamester, it gave me the idea to go for a tournament and hopefully get people excited just in the weeks coming up to the real game, the launch, to kind of show people kind of what the game can do.
That's awesome, mate.
That's amazing.
That's highly commendable that you're going to give away the games so that you earned. Like that's to be honest, that's the kind of spirit and community focus and camaraderie that I just love and that we want to build. So I won't get into it too much because I don't have a lot of time, but that's the purpose of building this kind of ecosystem experience, having it inclusive and creating opportunities for people to have really exciting moments, experiences with the potential to earn, across any level. So that's what we want to do. And just having that realized in this situation right now, you just tick something off the list, buddy. So thank you very much from all of us.
Yep. No problem.
I just became a mod yesterday as well, so.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Happy to be part of it.
Yeah, happy to have that kind of caring and forward thinking and just kind-hearted on the team. So congratulations, you're doing a really nice thing.
You're giving them a chance at a Genesis Ape too. So.
Yep, excellent. So just before I get off, just as well, since one of the things I want to do, kind of getting on the mod team, and I've been trying to just build up our kind of Spanish-speaking community. I'm involved there with the Telegram and stuff too. But so a drummer, one of the mods in Telegram as well, he's going to be streaming it in Spanish as well. So for For the
Oh, wow.
non-English speakers who speak Spanish, there will be at least one, if not more, streams in Spanish as well that they'll be able to listen in and watch the tournament.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Multiple language
Awesome work,
commentary.
Todd. You're a champ.
Cheers. See you later, guys. Thanks.
All right, man.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, man. Thanks again.
Well, gents, I've got to go and throw the child at the primary school. But for everyone who's been listening, thanks very much for all of your support. We have absolutely amazing things coming in the next 2 to 4 months.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see what happens, the reaction from the community, watch our community blow up, and all of the rest of the amazing things that will happen. Team's going strong. Thanks very much for our mod team and community managers, mods. You guys make our lives so much easier. And also all the players and everyone who's involved with the project. Thank you so much for everything that you do. We love you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one.